stop sharing, I can do that. Okay, thank you. All right, well,
Mhm.
welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Marimani Hausnick. I'm the Director of Admission at Commonwealth University Bloomsburg. Just as a full disclosure, before we have Dr. Peter Dorschler and Brenna introduce themselves, they are going to be our co-hosts and panelists for the evening. But this is being recorded, and we will be posting the recording within the next week or so on the Honors College website. So again, want to thank everyone for joining us this evening. You'll have an opportunity to put questions in the chat and or the Q&A. I'll be monitoring that for Dr. Dorschler and for Brenna. We may also have an additional student joining us in a few minutes. So if Jenna is still able to join us, otherwise we will have Brenna here as a student representative. But again, want to thank everyone for joining us this evening for the Honors College at Bloomsburg session. And hopefully everyone can see my screen. And Dr. Dorschler, it is all yours if you'd like to get started.
Thank you very much, Marimoni. My name is Pete Dorschler. I'm the Honors Director at Commonwealth University, Bloomsburg, and I'm also a political science professor. I've been at Bloomsburg for 18 years, and I've been the Honors Director for the last 3 years. And I split my time about 50-50 between political science, teaching, researching service over there, and my work in the Honors College. I'm originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan, if anybody knows where that is. And just a quick fun fact, I went to high school with Derek Jeter. That might impress some of the parents out there. I'm not sure a lot of students are going to know who that is. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'll introduce two students that I have with me tonight. Brenna, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brenna Zeckner. I'm a junior here, and I'm a professional sales and marketing major. I'm originally from Bensalem, Pennsylvania, and I'm an honors college mentor.
And Jenna?
Hi everyone, my name is Jenna. I'm a senior here at Bloomsburg. I'm studying speech language pathology. I'm originally from New Jersey, but my family just moved to Lebanon, PA.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brenna and Jenna. As we go through the presentation right here, I would invite anybody to enter questions into the chat, and we can stop at various times and address those questions, especially if they're dealing with something that we're currently talking about. So let me start off and just talk about what the Honors College is. I think a lot of you will have questions like what is it all about? And if you're coming from high school, you probably have had some experience with honors courses. Most of the students that I meet at open houses, whether it's virtual like this or in person, they're juniors or seniors in high school, and they're taking or have taken honors courses, AP courses. And they usually tell me, an honors course is similar to a regular, like a non-honors course, a regular section of the course, but it's a little more accelerated. I'm asked to do some more work. There's more activities, but the teaching style isn't necessarily much different. And in the end, it may help me a little bit on that accelerated path, but the experience itself isn't necessarily much different. The Honors College at Bloomsburg aims to be very different from that. We're not trying to replicate what students have experienced in high school. Instead, we're offering you a chance to be in small classes, engage a lot with other students through events and service opportunities, and get involved in research projects with professors, and really have a lot of one-on-one attention with mentors, with other support staff, and with professors. So we are, as you can see there on the slide, a very talented, diverse, and close-knit community. We represent about 8 to 10% of the student body at Bloomsburg. And currently, the Honors College has about 500 students, and we've got about 6,500 or 7,000 students approximately at Bloomsburg. So it's close to that 8 to 10% range. And we're very tight knit. First year honors students live together with a few exceptions. For example, if you're an athlete or considering being on an athletic team, you would room with your fellow athletes in a different dorm, which makes sense. You'd want to keep the team together. But otherwise, all first-year honors students live together in Lycoming Hall, and they're going to class together. They are, again, participating in events and service opportunities together, and interacting with each other all the time in the halls and study groups and things like that. And we're very diverse in the sense of, coming from a lot of different countries. We have international students in the Honors College. We have students from states across mostly the East Coast here. And we're talented in the sense that you are a group of high achieving students. Most honor students were at or near the top of their high school class, and they bring a lot of other talents with them beyond just GPA. Some are artists or musicians. They participate in theater. They're in all sorts of clubs around campus. So when you see a lot of activity around campus, often honor students are at the center of that. And those are the sorts of things we incentivize and support and promote. So we're not just about honors courses, getting back to that first point I was making. We're about an entire experience, and we really want students to be excited for all the things that we do and be engaged in our community. So let me go over the program requirements. What do you do in the Honors College? And I think this is where the students can come in and offer some of their personal experiences to kind of highlight these various things. So I'll start with the first bullet point there, 10 credits of Honors College courses. 10 credits is really not a lot, and this is a minimum. You can go beyond 10 credits if you want to. 9 of those 10 credits are honors seminars, three credit seminars. And those seminars count for general education. So general education at Bloomsburg is 45 credits. And that's pretty standard at a lot of universities. If you are shopping around, going a lot of college visits, I would ask about their general education program. And often you're going to find that it's around 45 credits or so. And the whole point is to offer you a well-rounded experience to make sure that you're not just going to be a nursing major and have only nursing courses, for example, but you're going to have writing and math and communications and history and political science. And because we know that when people enter the workforce, that odds are they're going to change their jobs 4 or 5 times throughout their career. So we want our students to graduate being well-rounded and having a variety of skills, lifelong learning skills, we often call them, so they can adapt as the job market changes. So the three credit seminars that I mentioned that comprise 9 out of the 10 credits, those are small courses capped at 20 students. Often they're smaller than that. It depends on the particular seminar, but I would say somewhere between 15 and 20 is pretty much the norm. And they're taught by the best professors on campus. We recruit the professors that we want to teach these courses. And they represent pretty much all of the different categories in general education. And they're meant to be really engaging. So we actually require professors not to lecture. If you think about a traditional class, students in rows, where they're getting, a traditional lecture, professor talking, students taking notes, and maybe there's an exam at some point. A lot of it's going to be multiple choice. We're offering a very different experience in these seminars. Professors are basing their class on discussion and projects. It could be individual projects, group projects. They do a lot of field trips. When I go into an honors class and I walk by them all the time, and I've been in a number of them, students are often sitting in a circle. They're talking about a topic, they're engaging, sometimes debating, sometimes role playing. So the whole experience in the classroom is meant to be very engaging. And because they're general education classes, you can take any of them. It's not like, hey, I'm a science major. I don't think I want to take that history class or that communications class. The point actually is to take classes outside of your comfort area or your main area of focus, and acquire some different experiences, some different skills, different perspectives. And our courses can do that in a very engaging way. So I'll ask Brenna and Jenna if they could talk about any of the seminars that they've taken, ones in particular that kind of stick out for them, and just tell us a little bit about those seminars.
Sure. So, I've taken three so far. I took a literature, history, and science one. I love the honors courses. I think they're so fun because they're really interactive. And I learn best when it's like hands-on learning. So they're my favorite classes I've taken so far. So my history one in particular was all role playing. So we were assigned a different character from history, and in our case, it was American Revolution and around that time. So somebody played like George Washington. I was like George Washington's translator or something for the French. It was so much fun. And then after that, we would like write essays talking about what happened in the class, maybe like drafting up documents, different agreements that we made in the class, things like that. It's really, really cool. And you learn so much. Another one I took was assisted reproductive technologies, where we learned about things like IVF, stuff like that, and we actually did it in class, like on sea urchins. It was really, really cool. Yeah, it was amazing. So,
Yeah, and Brenna again is in sales and marketing, and she's in a class like a science class that is open to all honor students. Again, it's service as gen ed, and she's doing some really incredible work with IVF on sea urchins. So that's the kind of experience that we want all of our students to have. Jenna, go ahead.
Sure. So right now I'm taking my third honors course, and it's probably my favorite one that I've ever taken. It is a speculative fiction. So there's like sci-fi and horror. We're reading graphic novels and comics. And what I really like about it is we get to do a little bit of art, and we've drawn like things that scare us before. And then we present them in like our groups. So like Dr. Dorschler said, our class sizes are smaller, which I love. We're not just a number in the classroom. All of our professors know us by name, so that's really nice. And like Dr. Dorschler said, it's very discussion based, so you get to know your peers really well. You're working with them in group projects. You guys get to present together, and we are pretty close knit. You really get to know everyone really well, and we all work together very well. Since we're all honor students, we all care about our academics and achieving a high grade and earning a high grade. So that's really nice that we can all work together.
Dr. Dorser, we do have a question about gen eds since we're on that topic. A student is asking if they've already taken most of their gen eds through early college or dual enrollment, would the student have to retake gen eds but the honors version?
You wouldn't have to retake the gen ed. So I guess the benefit of the honor seminars also counting for gen ed is that you can pick classes that could work for both. So for example, the history class that Brenna just mentioned, right, would count as an honor seminar. It would also count for the history requirement in gen ed. Now, if you're a student and you're bringing in a lot of credits, maybe even enough credits to satisfy the requirements for general education, that's wonderful. And certainly we would, in most cases, I think, give you a lot of credits for all that previous work. You would still need to complete the three honors seminars, though, because that is a core requirement of the program. Now, they wouldn't count for gen ed because you've already completed the gen ed, but you'd still have to take the three honors classes. But three classes is, again, it's a minimal requirement, honestly. And there are plenty of students who take more than that because I think, as our students have pointed out, they really like the classes and they're engaging. And why not take an honor seminar, even another one and another one if you can, as opposed to maybe a class that's larger and a little more traditional in its format. And I think that's why students would prefer that.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And that was a very, very good question. We do get a lot of students who come in with credits that they've earned through dual enrollment, early college, AP, and it didn't used to be the case. Certainly, when I went to college, those sorts of credits were sort of few and far between. But now I don't know what the average is, but especially for an honor student, they are bringing in often maybe a semester's worth of credits or something. That's not uncommon at all. So yeah, let me continue through the program requirements here. So 16 hours of volunteer service per academic year. We want our students to be engaged in the university community, engaged in the wider community. So we put together a number of volunteer service opportunities for students to get involved in. And you can also do things at home. It's August to August. So over winter break, over summer break, if you are involved in a really important service project at home and you want to continue doing that and you want to use the time spent there to count towards these service hours, you're welcome to. We don't cut you off and say, no, you can't do that anymore. It has to only be with us. But at the same time, we do offer lots of opportunities, and I think students have a lot of fun with it because you're with other honor students doing these sorts of things. I'll give you one quick example, and then maybe the students can offer their examples as well. Back in September, we organized the Alzheimer's Walk, and I mean, we didn't organize the walk, but we participated in the walk. And about 100 honor students went down to the town park here in Bloomsburg, and we did the walk, and we raised a couple $1,000s. And they got 5 hours for that, and that included, the getting to and from the event, and there was, of course, a little bit of ceremony before the event kicked off. There was actual walk and so forth. So it amounted to close to 5 hours when it was all said and done. So Brenna, I don't know if there's a service opportunity you could point to.
So sure. So we have a lot like throughout the year. There's not really gonna be a time when you're gonna have to stress about where you're gonna find service hours from. I know one that we're doing right now is a food drive, or I think it just ended, but it was a food drive where you could bring in a certain amount of necessities that they were asking for, and you would get a certain amount of service hours for that. We also do things like the big event where you go and you clean up somebody's yard. It's really fun. It sounds like, you know, yard work, but it actually is a lot of fun. I do it every year. And then there's clubs all around campus that do service hours as well.
Yeah, I'm thinking blood drives too, and I guess I don't want to steal any more examples. So Jenna, go ahead.
Sure. Yes, the big event was on my list too. I really enjoy doing that spring cleanup. Honors has hosted those food drives, donation drives like clothing. We've gotten funds, or not, I'm sorry, not funds, but we've had fundraisers to support a local animal shelter. And then I've also volunteered at Trunk or Treats at the local elementary school here. And then we do things like we write cards for veterans or children who are in the hospital. There's also a local nursing home here that we've written cards for them on like Valentine's Day and around the holidays.
Yeah, so we have all sorts of opportunities, and you're never forced to do any one particular service event. So you kind of pick and choose what you like to do. Maybe there's a particular cause that you like. I mean, like a food drive, the one that we just ended is helping kind of elderly residents throughout the area who have been impacted by some recent government funding cuts. And so, the need has grown. We partnered actually with the nursing program on that. So that was a really nice collaboration that we got involved in. We heard about it because a couple of our mentors, and Brenna is one, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. A couple of our mentors are nursing majors, and they talked about how they were organizing this event in nursing. And I said, well, let's join in. This is something that honor students should do as well. And so we mobilized our community. We got a flyer out there. We put bins in the dorm, and students started to bring in donation items. And we filled up, I don't know how many giant bins, the kind of giant bins you use when you move into dorm rooms, a number of them. So very successful event, and I think it shows that we're a community that cares about our wider community out there and our underserved members of our community, and we kind of all pulled together for that.
We do have a couple of questions in the chat. One is for Brenna and Jenna. They're being asked if you feel that being in the honors program is that if you find it to be a good balance between your workload and being involved in college life in the college community.
Sure, I think so. I am pretty quite involved. I have like 5 clubs going on right now. On top of being a student, I also have a part-time job. I'm a tour guide. I work in the admissions office. Um, but I don't think honors adds a great deal of stress at all. They are a great support system. There are always mentors, the professors. Everyone has an open door policy. So if you're struggling and you need to talk with someone, you can. But I don't think I have felt super stressed out by being an honor student here on campus.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that the title like honors college kind of scares a couple like incoming students a lot of the time because you're kind of walking into the unknown there. But it really is not like that big of a time suck. Like again, my part-time job is with the honors college, but even then I'm with 3 other clubs and I have plenty of time outside of classes and clubs in the honors college. So it's a lot less time than I even expected it to be as an incoming freshman. So
Yeah, I'd say it's very rare for a student to come to me and say, "Hey, I don't want to be in the honors college anymore. It's just too much. I can't continue to keep this pace up." Um, it may have happened once or twice, but it's really rare. And I think every student goes through maybe a challenging transition period, some more than others, and even honor students, right? I mean, coming into a university setting and taking 5 classes and adapting to life on your own, it's challenging. We're here to support you, and I think that came across from what the students just said. We're not here to make your life harder. We're here to help you and support you however we can. So I'll just go ahead and jump into mentoring a tiny bit because Brenna is one of our mentors. We have 21 right now, and each mentor is assigned right now it's between 8 and 10 first year students, and the mentors work with them. They meet with them at least once a month, and sometimes more often, and they can text with them and remain in contact with them throughout the year and really help them navigate through all sorts of challenges. And sometimes they're small things like they ran out of sushi at the Commons. What do I do? I need I need my emergency sushi fix. But seriously, more often it would be something like I'm having a roommate issue, or Brenna, you can probably give better examples because you actually kind of meet with the students. But academic challenges too, a chemistry class that is just more challenging than I thought. So honors is there to help. We can provide tutoring. We can just kind of help you brainstorm through all kinds of different challenges.
Pete, we're getting some questions between the chat and the Q&A. One of the questions is, what are some other examples of honors classes or seminars?
Yeah, I think we got several examples, but we can try to come up with a few more. I know there's one right now that's extremely popular. It is called The Art of Conversation. Professor Miller is a communication studies professor, and he teaches a class where each week is a different topic. And he's taught it a few semesters, so the topics vary. Usually something very salient, very timely. Sometimes it's political, sometimes it's more cultural, and the students will debate that topic or talk about it, but then they also make podcasts out of it. And they'll interview people and bring the students into the podcasts. So it's just a really interesting way to get students more involved, directly involved in a project like that. Brennan mentioned the role playing, the history role playing. That is an extremely popular class as well, and again, the sort of thing that you wouldn't find in a non-honors course as often, at least. With a class of 20 or fewer, you can really allow students to spend a lot more time in a project like that, absorbing a particular character and role playing and learning the nuances of it, and then engaging in this game, in this simulation. So those would be a couple of examples, but um, do either of you have something else that you're thinking of?
I have a fun one that I can think of. It was a creative writing one. And so we really had to think outside of the box and really practice our creative skills. And so one of our writings that we had to do, it had to be in a different format other than just an essay. And so I wrote mine in the form of a menu. So that was really fun and had to think outside the box for that.
I
Okay.
know a lot of our students really like our literature courses, and they change them around a lot. When I was a first semester freshman, I took honors dystopian literature, and I loved it. And I was really, really nervous about it because I'm a very slow reader. And I was like, I'm not gonna be able to keep up in this class, and it ended up being completely fine. So yeah, I loved it.
We have some other questions in the chat in the Q&A, but I think what we'll do is continue to move on with the presentation and we'll come back to some of those because they're not quite where we are in the conversation, if that's okay.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that hopefully gives you a sense of those 16 volunteer service hours. The next point there is attendance at two events. And we ask that one of them be a university curated event. So it could be a concert, a guest speaker, something that, is open to everybody at the university. And we want our students to be involved in the life of the university. And then another one would be in-house honors, something that honors is offering. And that can be for first year students. So back to the mentoring. Another thing that mentors do, in addition to working with first year students one on one, is that they collaborate and design events for the first year students specifically, but sometimes they're open to the entire honors college. Um, so yeah, the mentors are doing that. And then we also have an executive board that offers a bunch of events open to any honors students. And sometimes I'll even put together something. For example, we have a hockey night coming up in February. We'll take a group of 40, 50 students to watch the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Pens game if you're familiar with them. We did that last year. We'll do that again. Um, so I don't know, Jenna, maybe we can start with you. Like, what are some events that you've been in recently or ones that stand out for you?
Yes, so we have lots of our honors events are really fun socials. So we've done like tie dyeing, rock painting. We've played pickleball up at the rec center before. Recently, there was a Hamilton night, and if you dressed up as Alexander Hamilton, you won a $20 gift card. So I was really sad that I couldn't go to that because I'm a big Hamilton musical fan. I think tonight they're actually watching the Wicked movie. So there was also a student who ran a yoga class. I believe that was my freshman year. And I believe she did her capstone, one of her high impact experiences. I believe that she did her yoga classes for that. And so that was really cool. And then for a university event, our school will bring in guest speakers who might be talking about developing leadership skills or career tips. And our school will also have performances. So, like our school's choir, our dance team, theater students, those types of performances will also count as a university event.
So, as a mentor, I've organized a few of the honors events. So, the most recent one was really, really cool. We work in a team, so me and two other girls put together a vision vinyl event where we got vinyl records from the thrift store and we had all the honors college students make sort of their vision board on that for next semester. And they ended up so cool. Like everyone's so creative. It was awesome. So we have things like that. I also organized a therapy dogs event my first year being a mentor. So we'll have, and this happens all over campus. It's not just an honors thing, where we'll have therapy dogs come onto campus and you can come play with the dogs and pet them. It's really, really cute. And then for university events, they vary really drastically. So, my freshman year, I did one where I got to sit in on a class and see their semester-long projects, which was really, really interesting. And then this year, I actually participated in a sales competition that was open to the entire university. So yeah, they can vary very, very drastically. So you'll find some really, really interesting stuff.
Yeah, thanks for those examples. And I was just thinking of one of the events that Honors did back in September. It was our first event, which was Smarty Plants, we called it. And we've been doing it for 2 years now. And it's taking care of plants, specifically succulents. And we had a professor come in to teach students how to take care of these little plants. And each student got a little plant to take care of. Mine died in 2 or 3 days, I think. So I obviously didn't absorb the lesson very well. But most students did really, really well and enjoyed it. I think we had 80, 90 students, something like that at that event. So extremely popular and just a fun time and part of our community building. So I'll go ahead and go on to the next point. And we can always come back to these if there are questions related to them. Two high impact experiences. And one of them we call the major and one the minor. What is a high impact experience? There are things that would really enhance your learning and your time, your experience at the university. Things such as study abroad, faculty supervised research, a leadership experience of some kind, a meaningful leadership experience, or professional internship. So we are very busy behind the scenes in honors, developing a lot of opportunities for students to do study abroad, making sure that students are aware that they can conduct research with professors and really working with professors too to kind of cultivate those relationships. Internships, we have an Office of Alumni and Professional Engagement on campus where that internships run through, and we work very closely with them to make sure that our students are hearing about all the internship opportunities that are available. And then leadership experiences can be all sorts of different things. But maybe I'll let Brenna start here and talk about any experiences that you've had so far.
So, I'm going to be doing my minor impact experience or high impact experience on mentoring. So, I'll basically have to write a 5-page paper on how I impacted different students as a mentor and what I experienced there. And then my major high impact experience would probably be an internship that I'm doing. As a sales and marketing major, I'm required to do an internship, although most students do, regardless of their major. So I would probably do it on my internship there. I don't know if I should talk specifically about that.
That's
Okay.
great. Jenna, go ahead.
So, for my major high impact experience, I decided to do my capstone on the Renaissance. I really enjoy learning about art history. And so this past summer, I traveled to Italy, and I researched about the different artists and their artwork. And Honors provided me with funding that helped aid my research costs. I also had a capstone advisor who worked with me, making sure I was on the right path as I was collecting my research, and they were a tremendous help. And I'll actually be presenting my capstone poster this December at our reception. And then I could also speak about my minor. I haven't yet completed it, because it's this upcoming winter. I'm going to be studying abroad in Jamaica, a part of a CU faculty-led service learning program. So we're going to be building homes and assisting in schools and healthcare clinics. And I proposed this experience to be the basis for my minor high impact experience. And I'm very appreciative that Honors also supported me through this process, and they've given me funding to help with the program's cost for that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of to unpack there, actually. So the two high impact experiences, the minor, as Brenna mentioned, in her case, is mentoring. So mentors do a lot of work. There's a lot of leadership involved there, working with our first year students, and planning events. So they're able to use that experience as their minor, and they write a 5 to 7 page paper. It's a reflective paper. And then the second experience, their major high impact experience, is something that it becomes the foundation for their capstone project. Um, capstone project is typically a research-based project. We basically work with each student's discipline to kind of figure out what that paper should look like specifically. Something in English might look different from political science and so forth, but it's typically a 15-20 page paper or so, research based. So there could be data analysis, quantitative, qualitative. Um, it could involve some sort of computer programming, or just, again, depending on the discipline. If it's music, maybe it's a music composition. And you would write about that too, in addition to having the actual composition. So going studying abroad, as Jenna did, to Italy, which, by the way, was something that we were able to help fund. So she applied for an honors international scholarship, and she went with a couple of friends too. And they each had different projects, and this was really great, I think, because the four of them had different ideas, but they wanted to, I think, travel together, which made a lot of sense for them. They didn't, want to travel individually in a foreign country. So working together on different projects. How many days did you spend in Italy? It was over a week, right?
It was like almost 2 weeks around there, I
Almost
think.
2 weeks. Okay, yeah, yeah. So that was their experience, the study abroad. And then they used that experience, each one of them a little bit differently. As Brenna said, her project involved art history, going into museums and studying the art there, as the basis for the capstone project. So it could be an internship. I know Brenna is going to be doing an internship coming up here in the spring. It's very, very exciting. I'll let you say what it is. I won't spoil it. And It could be research with a faculty member. I think perhaps students in STEM fields, that's something that they might be more inclined to do, working with a professor during a semester or a summer on a bigger project, and then that research turns into their capstone project. In political science, we offer students the opportunity for a thesis. So working closely with a student on a thesis, and the student producing that research would be the capstone. Students design a poster on their capstone project, and they present that poster, as Jenna said, at our reception, which is at the end of every semester. So this year it's going to be December 1st, and Jenna is going to be one of, I think, 17 students presenting their research, and we've got it catered. It's going to be a super nice event. We've got a whole bunch of people, invited to come, and they essentially get to move around the room, talk to the students about their research, with some very nice hors d'oeuvres. And yeah, it's just a way to celebrate the accomplishments of the students and to bring together the Honors College. All honor students from the first year on up are invited. So there's going to be tons of people there, not to put any pressure on you, Jenna. Um, so hopefully that gives you some idea of the major, minor, high impact experience and that capstone project. So, Marimoni, I don't know if there are any questions or if we should go back to the slides.
There are some questions. We did have one I answered in the chat, but I think live might help. So one question was, does honors fund all study abroad options? I had mentioned that yes, they can apply for the honors scholarship as for study abroad support. And also any student, whether they're in honors or not going abroad or an internship, can also apply for a professional experience grant through our alumni and professional engagement. So my son is also in the honors college and actually studied abroad his summer after his first year in Austria. Dr. Dorsler took 6 students over to Austria for a gen ed class. They spent a month in Austria, and my son received funding through the honors college to go, but also through the professional experience grant. So there are separate funding sources, possibilities for honors students within the honors college that students who are non-honor students would not have access to help support the experiences that Pete and the students are talking about.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And Jenna was a recipient of that, and we've been giving students going on study abroad trips, whether it's a summer trip or a semester trip. We even have this upcoming spring a spring break trip. 24 students who are taking a class together on environmental sustainability in Belize are going to be traveling to Belize during spring break. And we're giving each of those students about $2,500, which is going to basically cover all their costs, program costs, flight, all the room and board when they're there, the travel around, so that they should be left with, maybe a few incidentals, a couple cups of coffee here and there. At least I would expect after a long flight and everything. But yeah, that's what we're able to do for students, and I think that maybe ties into one of the main benefits that we offer students on the financial side of things. A lot of people ask, well, do you offer students money to be in the honors college? And the quick answer is no, not sort of upfront money scholarships the way you might think of them, but we offer student scholarships to do these high impact experiences. It could be an internship too. And if you need money for an internship, let's say that it's not here in Bloomsburg, it's not back home where you could be at home and not have any particular, additional living costs, but it's someplace else. Maybe it's in DC or maybe it's in Harrisburg or someplace like that. And you could apply for a scholarship through us. We could help fund that opportunity for you. So that's where on the financial side of things where we can help and support you, and it's all to kind of do the sorts of things that enhance your experience rather than maybe what you might see up front.
Okay, let's continue on for now with the slides, and we can always go back to the questions so we can continue sharing information with our attendees tonight. All right, so it looks like we're ready for the next.
Yeah, go ahead and flip to the next one. Yeah.
There we go.
We covered this one. Okay, and I've already started talking a little bit about the value of honors. Scholarships, as we just talked about, priority scheduling. So students are able to, honor students, schedule ahead of other students. And currently, the sort of priority scheduling changes a little bit from time to time. Right now, it is honor students have a window of a few hours before non-honor students schedule. These are students in their class. So on juniors who are honor students a few hours before the other juniors, sophomores a few hours before the other sophomores. That's what it is. And that might not sound like a big deal. But even a window of a few hours, if you are awake and you know what time it is and you're scheduling, you can beat most other students to the classes that you want. So it does make a difference. The learning community. So this is built into the Honors College. There are 9 total learning communities on campus. The Honors College is one of them. And you'll find others in nursing and business and education, etc. And this is a program for first-year students that helps to support them in their transition to college. So Brenna, as a mentor, is kind of a key piece of this, offering this one-to-one support through meetings and just brainstorming any little issues that come up, and planning events the students participate in, meet friends, engage, feel that they have a life outside of the classroom. That's really what our learning community is all about. We do a lot of events, as you heard. including field trips, a lot of which are tied to our seminars, other travel opportunities. So the Belize spring break trip, the Austria trip that I took Marimoni's son Tyler on a couple of summers ago. Those are things exclusive to honors, and you can find other opportunities outside of honors. I mean, honor students are regularly, doing other things outside of honors that could be great opportunities too. But honors is offering a lot of our exclusive opportunities for students to, make sure that you have lots of chances and lots of things to do. Professional development opportunities. We have had alumni on campus quite regularly. And just last week, we had one of our distinguished alumni, Mark Steckel, who is a retired head of the FDIC, come and deliver a talk to honor students about leadership. And students got to meet him after the talk over some hors d'oeuvres and just network and talk about his experiences. So we do that sort of thing on a regular basis so students can network a little bit, but just hear about professional experiences from our alumni out in the working world. You see there at the very bottom, graduation rates. And so, a 6-year graduation of 90%. If you look on the Department of Education's website, College Navigator, they'll give you the 6-year graduation rates of all sorts, pretty much every college in the country. And, we're up there with some of the most selective liberal arts colleges in the country at 90%. So I think that speaks to our ability to keep students engaged and keep them interested and, kind of help them, support them through their studies and get them graduated. And I know that's a big deal because of the cost of education. This is a picture of Lycoming Hall. So this is the heartbeat, the nervous system of the Honors College. This is where all first year honor students live, and this is where we have our offices. So on the far left, you see Tortellini, and Tortellini is our mascot. We have had Tortellini for about 3 years now, and he's a red-footed tortoise. He probably looks, maybe you think he's pretty small from the picture, but he's the size of like a regular football, maybe even a bit bigger. And I think he's growing. Unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, but he eats a fair amount, and but we do take care of him. The students take care of him. They can earn service points or hours as part of a kind of care team, we call it. Students go in and take him outside and feed him and basically let him walk around Lycoming. And he's just a great part of our community because, the students really respond to him and help him, and it feels good to be part of that. In the middle picture, you see it's be like the ground floor level of the Honors College, and you can see Eileen G. Jones Honors College. So it's a named Honors College. Stephen Jones, a couple of years ago, gifted the university just over $7 million to go towards the Honors College, and part of that went towards the renovation of this ground floor, where we have classrooms. It would be straight ahead to the very back. There is one of the 2 classrooms. To the right is where the dean has his office. So I'm the honors director at Bloomsburg. We also have a dean who is responsible for honors across the 3 campuses of Commonwealth, including Lock Haven and Mansfield, and has a number of other responsibilities. So he's not in the weeds as much as I am, but we definitely collaborate a lot on things. And to the left is a study area there in that middle picture. So it's a great new space. And it's hangout and events and classes and offices. And then at the far right, that's an area we call the fishbowl. Looking out through the windows, it's sort of, you imagine being the fish inside the fishbowl. And this is Tortellini has his little palace there. And my offices would be to the left, where you can't see it, but on the left side there. And there's a lot of in the back study carrels and study spaces. And this is where students drop off food for food drives and other drives like the SPCA that's still ongoing. And a lot of mentors do their one-on-one meetings with their mentees in this space too. Um, I don't know, Brenna, Jen, if that covers everything, if there's something else you'd want to mention about these spaces, how you utilize them or anything like that.
I think that's pretty much it. We have a lot of our honors events in the fishbowl. So,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Um, Here we have just some pictures of field trip. Now, this one specifically was a retreat for first year honor students, and we've done it for 3 years now. And students have to sign up for it. You don't have to go on it. And we do have some limited numbers because it's at a camp. We take students for a weekend away off campus in September. So you've been on campus for a couple of weeks, you're adjusting, and we pull you off campus and we take you to this retreat. It's about an hour away north of here, and you'll meet students from Lock Haven and Mansfield. And the whole point is just to have fun. There's outdoor activities, as you can see there, the kayaking, swimming. There is a climbing tower. There's in this the upper left, students were doing yoga with the student that Jenna mentioned. Mac Tunney was doing yoga sessions and turned this into her capstone project. Actually, this is a piece of it, and yeah, it's just lots of fun, community building, so that students can feel like they have friends, they have a community of support, and I think the field trip is a big part of that, and we'll continue to do this. And students don't pay anything for it. This is all out of the honors budget. So we get to the Honors College qualifications. So obviously, the Honors College, as I said at the very, very beginning, is for high achieving students, and these are the criteria that we look for. So if you have a GPA of 95 and above on the 100-point scale, or a 3.8 and above on the 4-point scale, you would automatically qualify to be in honors. You would receive an invitation in your admissions portal that would say you're invited to join honors. Nothing else is required, no essay, nothing else. And just click here if you wish to join honors. We know at that GPA level you are at or near the top of your class. We don't want to put you through any more, hoops or applications. We hope that you would select to join honors at that point. If you are just below that, and you can see the GPA ranges right there on the 104-point scales, this is a little bit more of a competitive process. We realize that you're still an outstanding student, maybe not quite at the top, but you're still an outstanding student. And sometimes GPA doesn't always tell the whole story. So you may have all kinds of really interesting, unique skills or qualities. Could be leadership. Maybe you're the captain of a sports team. Maybe you're the student, president of your class. Maybe you put together an art portfolio. Maybe you do all kinds of incredible things. And this is your opportunity to tell us about those in supplemental materials. It could be a resume that you upload, or an art portfolio, as I mentioned, and then an essay. And it's a 500-word essay that is in response to a prompt, which is our mission statement. And how would you fit in as an honors student into the Honors College? So we would look at that. I would read the essay and your supplemental materials. I look at your transcript. I would like to see a student who has challenged themselves, with honors AP courses and, done well, especially maybe in sophomore, junior year, and continues to excel. And if all of those things kind of check out, and I see a vision of a student who is going to succeed in honors, then you would very likely be accepted. The next couple of slides are kind of student profiles, I guess you could call them. And I won't read through the entire quotes that they have offered here, but I think they're instructive to learn about why students have chosen to be in honors and what they've gotten out of honors. in terms of their experiences. And Matt just graduated, computer science major, and he did a study abroad in Berlin, and wrote his capstone project about the startup culture in Berlin. And he also went on a trip with us in the spring to the Northeast Regional Honors Council conference. So it's a conference for honor students across really the Northeast. And he presented his research right at the conference. So we had a couple of Bloom students, a couple of students from Lock Haven. We all kind of joined together as Commonwealth, and the students presented their research in posters, and they networked with other students and professors there. And that was down in Harrisburg last year. It'll be on Yale University's campus in the spring. This is Claire Schmoke, and Claire was a mentor for a couple of years, just like Brenna. She is an education math double major and did her student teaching at Bloomsburg High School. And that T-shirt that she's wearing is not Bloomsburg University. It's Bloomsburg High School, actually, the Panthers, not the Huskies. And my kids graduated from that high school. That's how I know it so well. But Claire did a study abroad in Salzburg along with Tyler, Marimoni's son. So I got to know her quite well. And she wrote her capstone project on Austria's role in the Holocaust. And then third student, this is Finn. And I'm glad that Finn is also profiled here because he is a student athlete. And you might see from his t-shirt there, he runs track, I believe, the 400. And so some of you might also ask, can you be an athlete in honors? Absolutely. I think out of our incoming class this year, our first year students, we have about 180. And I don't have the exact number here in front of me, but I want to say about 10 of those students were student athletes. I know there's women's and men's golf, there's tennis, there's basketball, and soccer, I think both men's and women's. So they represent sports across the range, you know. Yeah, and Finn also did a study abroad. So, you can take advantage of all the opportunities and still be involved in athletics, be an honor student, and have a very rigorous major like the pre-physical therapy that he's in.
Fun fact, my son was in Austria at the same time that Claire and Finnegan were, and my son also climbed the mountain with Finn while he was there in Austria. So,
There
which
you
my
go.
son never does. So it was a new experience for him with Finn. So
Yeah, when in Austria, climb mountains. I guess that's the national pastime there. Um, Here, if you would like to get in touch with us, there's my contact information. Dr. Podesky, who is our interim dean, and then Alexandra is our secretary. So please reach out. I would be more than happy to talk to you more about honors, arrange a visit with you. We do, in fact, a lot of kind of one-on-one family visits. People who, for whatever reason, aren't able to come to a regular open house, or maybe in addition to a regular open house, they come and schedule a meeting to meet honor students, to meet with us, to really get a feel for the space and the program. And if that's important to you, please reach out. I'd be happy to arrange that with you.
well, Dr. Dorschler and Jenna and Brenna, we have quite a few questions. I think it's and our visiting families and students, please don't feel like you have to hop off right at 8 o'clock unless you have to and have other obligations. We're going to stick around to answer the questions between the chat and the Q&A. So if we're all good, we can go ahead and start answering some questions. It looks like you answered the one about athletes. We had quite a few questions about can I be an athlete and be an honor, so thank you for that. If I get accepted into the honors college, would I be able to room with someone outside of the honors college?
Yes, we do allow that, and I think it is fairly popular. If you have a best friend and you're both looking to come to Bloom, and you'd really like to room together, and you're planning to be in honors and they're not, Are you going to break up the team? And we say, no, you can room together. And we definitely support that. And that's absolutely fine with us.
I think the three of you answered quite a bit of this, but just in case there may be another answer or an additional answer, what happens your first year after being accepted into the honors program?
The Honors College is a 4-year program. So we mentioned at the very beginning the learning communities. So those learning communities are first year programs. And nursing, business education, et cetera, I mentioned. So after your first year, you sort of you end that experience. You kind of move on. With honors, you're in that learning community the first year, you're in the honors college, and then you kind of graduate from the learning community and you continue on in honors for the next 3 years or as long as you're here. So you would need to, keep working on those requirements, the 3 seminars minimum, the high impact experiences, the events, the service hours. So, some of them, it's like 2 events per semester, it's 16 service hours per year. You just have to keep track of fulfilling those requirements as you keep going. But it's really meant to be a full 4-year experience, the traditional 4-year experience.
And you talked about athletes being in honors, but there's a student who is asking if we know how many honor students are actually athletes as well. Like I know overall at the university we have about 650 total athletes, but do you happen to know, Dr. Dorscher, roughly how many athletes may be honor students?
Well, I mean, if I think I mentioned that I think there were about 10 this year, and if you want to extrapolate, times four, I don't know, 40 is exactly right. I don't have that number in front of me, but I'm thinking that's a good ballpark right there.
And what happens if students don't complete honors program requirements?
Well, you would still be at the university, and you could, there are students who decide to leave honors sometimes, and maybe they're just really invested in other things, and they just, maybe drift away a little bit. That's okay. That does happen on occasion. We also require, it wasn't in the list of requirements, but for graduation, we require a 3.0 to graduate from the honors college. So if you, now let's just say your first semester, your first year, you don't make a 3.0. And it happens even for honor students where you might get off on the wrong foot or have a bad class or something like that could happen. We don't boot you from the honors college. We work with you. Mentors like Brenna will, spend extra time with you often to just help you think about how to succeed in the classroom. Maybe you need to figure, to find tutoring, better study skills, time. Often, like the work-life balance, time management is an issue for a lot of students when they first start out because you're used to a high school schedule where everything is blocked throughout your day. And then suddenly you come to college and you've got all these big, wide open spaces, and people think they can, sleep and do all kinds of other things. And really, you need to be studying, thinking of it almost like a job in a sense. That's just a mindset, and that's what we help you do. Is to get over those little hurdles. So and get back up to that 3.0. So if you decided to leave honors, or if at the very end towards graduation is when we would, if a student wasn't making the grade, that 3.0, then you wouldn't graduate from honors. That's a pretty strict rule for us. So there are situations like that. I'd say they're pretty few and far between, but it does happen.
So I know you mentioned a little bit about, having nursing students. We have a couple of students asking specifically for nursing. Do a lot of nursing majors join the honors? Do they find it difficult to balance? And then the other question was if other nursing students are living in Columbia with the learning community, can the honor student also live in Columbia or would they have to live in Lycoming?
No, thank you. That's a really good question. Nursing is our largest group of students in the Honors College. So we represent every major. from sales and marketing to art history and speech pathology and everything in between. And, nursing is the largest number of students. So we get plenty who find that they can definitely manage it. And nursing is very rigorous, very tough. And, it's demanding on the students. But again, that's not what honors is trying to do. We're not trying to add a lot of stress onto your plate because we know as honor students, you're already doing a lot of work. So we are there to support. Our main thing is to support you and to offer you a different kind of experience. So the seminars are different. And doing a study abroad that you maybe couldn't have done as an honor student because our scholarships are available, and maybe some really interesting events or service opportunities. So we're really not trying to pack on all kinds of extra things, and I don't think we do. We're offering you a different type of experience. So yes, I think you can do those things together. And then as a nursing student, you have to decide whether you want to be in honors or the nursing LC. It's kind of one or the other. It's we don't want students kind of split and sort of, not really participating with us, and we lose kind of focus with them. And we really want you to decide to be one or the other. Now, if you were in the nursing LC, you could still come and joining in an honors event if you had a friend and pull you into an honors event. And likewise, if you were in honors, you could go over to the nursing LC and participate in an event there. We're not an exclusive club that way. We're not going to let you do things with us. Certainly we can welcome you if you're coming in with friends and stuff like that.
There are also a couple of students who are asking, they've been admitted into medical imaging, and they're wondering, since they don't finish the degree program at Bloomsburg, they're leaving either after 2 or 3 years. Can they still participate in honors? How would they finish their capstone project? What would that look like for a medical imaging student?
No, that's a really good question. Yeah, we would work with you and your faculty advisor to figure out the best way to do that. And if you are off campus that last year, it may be for the capstone project, you come back for the reception. And since the reception is in the evening, as I mentioned, December 1st this year, you could be working on a project. You could complete a poster, even if you're off campus, and still come back for the reception. We have education is a good example where a lot of education majors do their student teaching their last semester. So they're for all intents and purposes, off campus for that final semester because they're in school doing student teaching, and yet they will, complete a capstone project and come back and present it. So we'd have to talk about that. Each case is a little bit different, but I'm sure we could manage that.
Great, thank you. Is Honors College a good mix of female and male students?
Yeah, it's a diverse community. I believe we do have more female students than male students. But you saw in the student profiles that we just showed, we had a couple of male students, Finn and Matt. And yeah, I don't know the exact breakdown of first year students right now. I believe it's sort of like a 60-40, if I'm not mistaken,
Which would
breakdown.
make sense. The university is 60-40, so that would
The
align with
university is
them.
60-40, yeah, yeah. And most universities right now, there are more women than men in a lot of schools. So I think that's fairly average, let's say.
Great, thank you very much. Let's see our next question. I believe you answered this, Dr. Dorschel, earlier, but the student may not have been in the session to hear the answer. What can students do to get that last credit after the 9 credits from this honor seminars
Oh,
to get
thanks
the
for
total?
and I forgot to mention that. So
Oh, okay.
that last credit ties to your capstone project. So we would assign that credit to your faculty advisor, your capstone advisor. And Jen is an interesting case because your capstone advisor is at Lock Haven. And so Jenna found a faculty member at Lock Haven, which is one of the benefits of the integration is that you can find, faculty outside of Bloom. Doesn't happen all the time, but this is a great case where it did happen. Professor Canatella in the history department, and they're able to collaborate and she's able to advise Jenna on the capstone project. And so that last 10th credit would apply to the capstone in that case to allow you to finish the capstone.
And speaking of capstone, does the capstone project have to be an essay or are there different options?
Yeah, most of the time it is an essay, because that's fairly traditional in most fields. Now, if you're a visual arts major, and your final project is to put together a series of ceramics that you've made, that's not an essay. That would maybe there is a little bit of writing, to talk about what you've done, but the main piece of that would be the visual art that you've constructed. And same thing for a music composition. Certainly, there could be some writing about, how you've composed or what the inspirations were behind your composition, but the main piece of that would be the composition itself. So I think it can take some different forms, but I think all or almost all of them are going to have some sort of writing, and traditionally it would be more of a research styled paper. And I think for Jenna and Brenna, that's probably what we'll see.
I don't know that we would necessarily know this answer, Dr. Dorschler, but you may have a sense for some students who've gone on to grad school. A student is asking, do you find statistically that if students participated in the honors college, they have a higher acceptance rate for postgraduate programs versus students who did not participate in honors? I know that's something we can necessarily capture, but it's an interesting question.
It is a great question, and I wish we had done all that analysis. It is something we are curious about too, and we want we understand that these outcomes are important. And anecdotally, I can certainly tell you a lot of stories about students who have gone on to grad school and law school and med school. I don't have the aggregate statistics there. Certainly, um, vis-a-vis the non-honor students. I don't have that, but that is a great question, and I wish we could have that for you.
And if rooming with someone not in honors college, if rooming with someone not in the honors college, would you room together still in Lycoming Hall or with the other honors student or in another hall?
Lycoming Hall, yeah, we would let you live in Lycoming Hall.
And if you can potentially just reiterate, Dr. Dorsler, what does an honor seminar look like? I know you talked about that earlier on, in terms of not being a traditional like rows of students, that's more engaging, but maybe
Mhm.
just mention, if you want to just mention that again, that would be great.
Yeah, so they're capped at 20. Often they're 15 to 20 students. Um, Most of the time, I'd say 90% of the time, they're in our honors classrooms. And often when I walk past them, or if I've been invited into several honors seminars, students are often sitting in circles, as opposed to rows where it's kind of facing towards the professor. Here, you're facing towards all the other students, so you're able to engage and talk and debate, and maybe create a podcast together or share something that you've drawn or written. And I just think it's a setting where you can engage a lot easier than maybe the way a traditional classroom looks.
Thank you so much. So those are all of our questions as of this moment, and we are certainly over the allotted time, which is great, though. I think we had some great interaction, some great questions. So if we don't have any other questions, I'd like to thank Dr. Dorschler, Jenna, and Brenna for their time this evening. We just got another question. Are there any tuition-based scholarships that honor students could apply for, or is it just experience-based?
Yeah, we don't have tuition based. That would be sort of at the university, and certainly you would be eligible for merit based scholarships. Certainly reach out to admissions if you'd like more information about that. Marimoni could definitely talk more about that, but for honors, it is the experience based specifically.
And if you're a student who has the GPAs that Dr. Dorschler showed earlier, you would have received some type of merit scholarship automatically. It's not a separate application, so make sure you're checking your application portal for a scholarship letter. If you just recently applied and just recently got admitted, you may not have gotten your scholarship release just yet, but if you're unsure, just feel free to check in with the admissions office. I'll put my email address in the chat. And in terms of other scholarships, you can also look into scholarships through your high school, within your county, national searches like scholarship.com. If you go to commonwealthu.edu, there is a scholarship tab under cost and aid, and there actually is an external section within scholarships that you can also look at PASHE University System scholarships for PASHE system schools. So it's not just exclusive to Commonwealth, but because you're coming to Apache University, you can also apply to a scholarship through the Apache system. So there are lots of external scholarships that students can also apply to that would be stacked potentially on top of merit, but your initial merit scholarship from admissions would be the only one that would initially be going toward tuition from our office. And there's a question in the chat which so they're asking, where do we go from here? How do I apply? Dr. Dorschler had alluded earlier that if you've met those GPA requirements, whether you were automatically admitted into honors or if you need to submit an essay or supplemental material, that would be listed in your application portal if you're a high school senior. If you're not a high school senior and you're a junior or a sophomore in high school, that will come at a later time when you apply as a senior, but there's not a separate application per se that you have to worry about finding on the website. It's all through your application portal. So if you're unsure about your portal, feel free to reach out to admissions. Again, I will put my email address here in the chat for folks. So you feel free to reach out to me if it's relating to did you get invited into honors? Did you receive a merit scholarship? And I can walk you through that. And I think we have a few more questions and then I think we'll be good to go. Do you have to pay to be in honors?
No, no cost. In fact, I think it's just the opposite. Through scholarships, you're often sort of coming out ahead. If you think about doing a study abroad, which Jenna did, actually, you're going to do a second one too coming up. Applying for those honor scholarships, that's money put towards things that maybe you'd have to pay full sticker on. With honors, we can defray those costs, and really, we're talking thousands of dollars collectively. So that's one of the huge benefits, and it doesn't cost you anything up front to be in honors. We don't charge you a fee or anything like that.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Dorschler. I think we are all set. Again, thank you so much to our panelists, Jenna and Brenna. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. To our families and our students who were with us tonight, thank you again so much for spending the time with us this evening. The recording will get posted on the honors website within the next couple of weeks. Since we have the holiday coming up, there might be a little bit of delay after next week. So I hope everyone has a great holiday and a great evening. And thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jen and Brenna. And thanks to everybody who joined us tonight. And please reach out if you have questions. It was great being with you here tonight. Good night.